Welcome back to Terror by the Bay. I'm David. Well, news started blowing up yesterday, interestingly enough. This reading is going to be on Mike Johnson and his announcement that he made that he is and his office are working swiftly to release the January 6th video footage, but only after he starts blurring the faces of those participants in the event. The card that popped up is this is the card that popped up. The Hillbilly Drunken Brawl. Yeah. Blurring the faces so that they wouldn't, the participants wouldn't be held for criminal prosecution. But I thought it was Antifa and BLM and the George Soros people that caused all that problem. Why would you blur their faces? Wouldn't you want them all in prison? And aren't everybody who's been sentenced in prison been shown to be like a Trump supporter and a MAGA person? So why would you blur the faces of all those other BLM folks? You know, they can't... They lie so much that they can't keep this story straight. And that's why it's easy to ridicule MAGA folks, because anything that they tell you happened on January 6th, you can come up with an alternative story from one of their own sources. And you just watch them just sort of, their brains lock. If you've ever had like your computer lag or buffering, that type of thing, it's what their brains are doing, because they've never stopped to use their critical thinking skills for like a second. And the minute you point out the contradictions from their own sources, they don't know what to do. And they shut down. So let's look at the energy around the release of the January 6 videos and the comment about blurring the faces, which his office later tried to walk back. But how do you walk that back? This party is just amazing. And my camera's falling all over the place here, so let's get this thing set up. Okay. Entertainment purposes only and all that. Hopefully this isn't too washed out here. So what's the energy around this? Okay, we've got the Eight of Cups, the walking away. Yeah, certainly the walking back of the comments. Part of the reason that you'd want to blur the faces, and they said that the Department of Justice already has the raw footage, but I think the reason why you want to blur the faces is that it's not the Department of Justice they're worried about. It's the internet sleuths that are out there. You know, the ones that, I say crowdfunding, the crowdsourcing ones where it's like somebody says, you know, identify the insurrectionists, and they'll throw somebody's picture up there and they'll throw it out there and throw it out to Facebook and the internet, say, who is this guy? And then people are able to identify these folks because, you know, their neighbors, their coworkers, their friends, their cousins, you know, that sort of thing. And so now they want to blur the pictures, not so that the Department of Justice doesn't see it, but so that these other groups that are really good at finding, trying to adjust my lighting here, at finding these folks don't get more information, and more insurrectionists get arrested for that. So Eight of Cups, they're trying to get away from showing the responsibility of MAGA for this. Crossed with the Five of Swords. I mean, it's obvious what you're trying to do. Now, the fact that your base doesn't care, you're trying to find they're releasing the tapes because they're going to come up with this great conspiracy theory, but there's no theory there because it wasn't a conspiracy other than Donald Trump told a bunch of people to fight for your country like your democracy depends on it, and they did exactly what he told them to do. So this is them trying to find, pull the rabbit out of the hat type of thing, but there's no rabbit, so they're going to have to walk away from this. This releasing of this video footage isn't going to work out the way they want, because all it's going to show is the people involved were MAGA folks. Otherwise, you wouldn't need to blur their faces. In the past, we got the King of Cups. to me, not Joe Biden, but this is like your Tucker Carlsons and Kevin McCarthy and now Mike Johnson, who've all tried to misrepresent what happened on January 6th as, just a tourist visit. And then McCarthy released a bunch of videos for Tucker Carlson, who cobbled together some lame video that purported to show that the FBI was involved in this, and it didn't work. And, even when they released the videos, they were saying, oh yeah, there's the FBI guy showing his badge, and it's a dude with a vape pen. Nothing that they're doing is working. It's an illusion, and they're trying to pull a smoking gun out of the hat, and there's nothing there to pull out. Current situation is double because Trump wants this. This is all in servitude to the great orange one. Bill Johnson, if you thought McCarthy was a lackey to Trump, Bill Johnson's like a lackey on steroids. They will do anything Trump tells them to do because they want Trump back in power. And then they want to basically be the rulers of the United States. Not the leaders, the rulers. But Trump is the one that wants this video released. The perfect videos. Overarching is the Department of Justice, though. I don't think this is Mike Johnson. I think this is the Department of Justice watching what's going on. And, I think the Department of Justice has to be very concerned with where the Republican Party is going. And it wouldn't surprise me if we found out that they've been investigating members of the Republican Party for a while now. Merrick Garland has gotten a lot of flack for being really slow with his investigations. But as we know, with the FBI, there were a lot of Trumpers in there that they had to get rid of, and there's still Trumpers in there that they're dealing with. Department of Justice was the same way. Linda G has been hammering on this for the last couple of years. It's going slow because you have to isolate the cancerous people inside the department. And this isn't some deep state conspiracy theory. This is Trump putting his cronies and his lackeys in key positions of power. And if you can't get rid of them, you have to be able to go around them. And it's kind of that same thing with Josh Hawley and Tommy Tuberville and Rand Paul holding up ambassador positions, State Department positions, 4-star general promotions, because they're trying to get key lackeys in key positions so that if Trump or the GOP gets into power in 2024, they basically can rule the United States, and the United States will lose its democracy. The Department of Justice is aware of this, and they're doing what they can within the parameters that they can work to monitor this whole situation. The lesson to be learned is the happy family card. Hopes, wishes, dreams fulfilled. Mike Johnson and crew are hoping that by releasing this tranche of videos, again, they'll conjure something out of nothing. But there's no there. All you'll get are conspiracy theories and nothing of any substance. Nothing the Department of Justice can certainly investigate. I'm sure that Johnson and crew will put pressure on the Department of Justice to do investigations. But there's no there. If they do any investigations, they're going to arrest more MAGA folk. Outcome is the moon. This is purely being done to muddy the waters, to cause doubt, to cause people to feel like, and notice we got the same card here and here, to cause people to feel like there's some conspiracy there. And one of the things by blurring people's faces, and this is almost virtually guaranteed to happen, is that the folks on the far right will claim that the faces that they hid by blurring them out were Antifa, were FBI, police informants, and other provocateurs who are not Trump supporters. That's where they're going to go with the conspiracy theories. Because, well, why else would you blur their faces? Even though if you point out to them that it was Johnson and Company that blurred out the faces, and why would they blur out the faces of the FBI folks and stuff? They'll say that, like, oh no, Johnson was pressured by the deep state to do this. You know, it's always the deep state. It's always the boogeyman here that does something like that. Play with my lighting again. They just, again, the GOP is just there to sow confusion amongst their supporters. And, God. All right. What will be the net result of once these videos are released? What's going to be the net result for... we don't have to worry about MAGA folks, right? Because they're going to believe what they want to believe. What's the net results for independents and moderate Republicans and maybe people who haven't quite made up their mind yet on what happened on January 6th? High Priestess. They're going to have there's going to be some insight, some wisdom that comes from all this. We got the planning card, King of Swords, Knight of Cups. Someone's going to come underneath here, not necessarily Jack Smith, but somebody's going to come up underneath here and just make all sorts of arguments. You know what this is going to be? This is maybe is Jack Smith's card. People will now pay more attention to the January 6th trial involving Donald Trump because the GOP inadvertently is causing confusion and interest in the Donald Trump January 6th trial by releasing all this footage. So people will be interested to find out what does the prosecution have against Donald Trump. So they're making their plans to base their decisions based on what the DOJ is doing. Somebody's got to be lying. Somebody's misrepresenting what's going on here. And if they're using their critical thinking skills at all and looking at the information, how can it both be that the blurred faces are Antifa and the people who release it are anti-Antifa? It's we have a celebration here. I think folks, they're going to watch the January 6th trials and they're going to get enlightened as to what was going on behind the scenes. And they'll be able to make up their minds based on that. It's going to be a rather compelling trial. And I think they're going to understand that the GOP has not been forthright with them. Okay. But this shouldn't be a surprise, but you know, in this country right now, pretty much anything is a surprise because you can't trust one of the major political parties, in this case the GOP, to do the right thing. And they're certainly not upholding their oath to hold up the Constitution, and they certainly seem to be, barreling down the path to an authoritarian slash oligarchy slash kleptocracy type of government and country. Yay. Yay, Team America. All right. I'm going to wrap up the reading here. There's more Mike Johnson stuff to go over. But we'll focus it solely on this one, on the January 6th videos. Makes no sense because what their stated purpose isn't what they're wanting to do, which is why it doesn't make any sense. Thank you for watching this video and supporting my channel. I appreciate it. Thank you for everything you do to feed the YouTube algorithm so that my video makes it to a wider audience. To the new subscribers, I should say, I don't have a membership. To the new subscribers and folks discovering this channel for the first time, welcome to the channel. Glad you found us. Hope you found this reading insightful, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take care.